Okay, for those of you who are new to my channel, which means you didn't see the first video, it sounds kind of funny when I say new to my channel, like I'm new to my channel. What I do is I look for things in thrift stores, garage sales, anywhere, and that have lost a little bit of their sparkle. And then I upcycle them to make them glamorous again. And that is why I am the DIY Glamour. Now this little bunny has definitely lost its glamour, with one ear missing, and he initially was Ashland's, and I don't know if you can see that tag. In Canada, it's $45. So that was a pretty expensive little basket. That's the first issue that we have. The second one is we're going to use this coaster, and it has a chip on it right here, which we're going to have to fix up and paint up. And we're going to make a candy dish out of this cardboard. And then I've got this little birdhouse, and I bought him at the dollar store for $1.50. Why is it called the dollar store? And I think he needs to be on this pedestal. I think they always just look a little bit better if they're on a pedestal. Maybe I'll make a bit of a nest here just to do a little something something for him. Hello and welcome to Glamour's House. My first video aired yesterday, and so I wanted to take a moment to thank everybody that took a look at it, that subscribed. You know, pushing that little red button can be a little intimidating sometimes, but it sure helps me out when you do, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. I checked out all the comments. I love it when you leave comments. Everyone was so kind and encouraging. I received a couple comments about my sign that I should lift it, raise it a little bit higher, which I did. And you're right, it looks way better. So thank you, Tony and Joanne, for that. And Sandra, a wonderful friend out in Ontario, said to me, "Oh, Mary, you're so creative, you'll do fine." So thank you, Sandra, for your encouraging words. And it just reminded me of the first time that someone told me I was creative. And it was, well, I guess 25 years ago, when my daughter, who was 5 at the time, said to me, she complained every time at supper about every single meal I made. She complained. And I'm not saying that it wasn't just. I mean, maybe there was a reason, but nonetheless, I was getting tired of hearing her complaints. So I said to her, "Okay, Danny, there's no more complaining. You're going to have supper tonight and no complaining." So she sat down at the dinner table and she looked at it. I'll never forget it because I made chicken pot pie. And she looked at it and she started eating, and she said to me, "Mom, you're so creative." And I looked at her, okay, where's this going? I mean, she's only 5. And I said, "Why would you say that?" And she's looking at her meal and eating it with this beautiful little girl. And she goes, "Well, Mom, I'm sure that you didn't find this recipe in a real cookbook, so you must have made it all by yourself." So every time I hear creative, I think, oh. But I know my friend Sandra meant that in the best way. Okay, today we are doing Rustic Easter. This was my inspiration. I found this little basket at Salvation Army, and I paid $4.99 for it. It's a banana leaf basket. It's really well made, and I love the little bunny and the carrot, but he's missing his ear. So, you know, we'll have to do something about that. Are all the items that we are going to upcycle today. And we're going to start with lining the basket. Cut out just a round piece of linen that we're just going to hot glue on the inside of this basket. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. It is roughly measure, just kind of put a piece in there, roughly measured so that I know it's going to fit the whole basket. And I'm going to be folding it under. That's why it doesn't matter if it didn't fit perfect, like exact. Because I'm just going to fold it under, and then I will hot glue it there. I think you can see. And I'm just going to put a dab of glue down because I am going to have to pleat, like make little pleats in here. So I'm going to do the 4 sides first. I mean, there's not corners, but just kind of like you would if you were upholstering something. And I'll show you, like I've just folded it under so that it looks like a finished edge. I'll get closer up. I think you can see that there. So it just, and I'm just putting it right underneath the lip of this here. Ensure that the bottom is all the way down to the bottom so that when it's done being glued, it's not going to be pulling on the bottom. See here, there's some pleating that's happening. So I'm just going to glue it in like that. Okay, now I've got it lined, as you can see, and I get rid of all the little pieces. And I went ahead and put a piece of jute right along the edge just to hide the seam. I also had some people say that the video was too long. So in my attempt to make the video a little bit shorter, but still show you everything that I'm doing, those kind of things I just thought I would show you and tell you because it's really self-explanatory. So now I'm going to work on that missing ear. Yeah, and I'm throwing everything, I know you can see me doing this, onto the ground or the floor. But I have a cleaning lady, and every day she comes in after I'm done, and she tidies everything up and cleans it all up for me, and she never, ever, ever complains. Like, she just does it, so I keep doing it, making a mess, and she keeps cleaning it. Love her, she's fabulous. Okay, it's me. It's me. I'm the one that cleans, but that is easier. I'm gonna make a little hat for him or her. I'm unsure. I guess I better decide. It's still like Peter Cottontail, right? Like, I always think it's a guy, but I don't know, it could be a girl. Patricia Cottontail? To make his hat, I've decided it is a him, this one anyway. I just am using a piece of cardboard, darn glue strings, and I'm just going to cut out a strip of the cardboard that is about an inch wide. And then we will roll it up, glue it up, and size it up to make sure it fits my rabbit's head. Okay, I'll just go fetch that. I remember making these hats for my daughter's Barbies years ago. We would sit and make hats. I wonder if she remembers that. She didn't play with dolls for long, so she may not. Okay, so now I'm just going to measure my rabbit's head and see where how big that hat, right about there. So I'm just going to put a little piece of glue in there. Fold, yeah, that'll be good. just going to mark it. I'm using that bit that I made that fits his head just as a template for sizing. And I'm just going to cut out this little circle that we will paste on top. Then I'm going to just stick that with a bead of glue to the top, which will make the top of the hat. And glue that on. So I'm using yeah, this is an old coffee cup. It's actually chipped and everything. But my daughter bought it for me when she went to Germany. She played basketball for Canada. It was wonderful for her. And she brought that cup back for me from Germany. And I remember when she came home, she was so excited, and she says, "Mom, they've got the best thing in Germany." And she brought me this coffee mug, because she knows I love coffee, and she bought me a jar of instant coffee. And she says, "Mom, this coffee you don't even have to make. You just add water and it's done." And she thought it was the most brilliant thing that had, oh, my mom will love this. A cup of Nescafe. I placed the hat in the center. And so now I'm just going to mark that. And I'll show you why. It to the circle. So you can see that this is just going to go lift up like that. And then I will glue that to the inside of my hat. Now I've got them all folded up, so I'm just going to run a bead of glue along them, and I'm sure you can kind of see what I'm doing. And then place the top over it and glue strings and fold the tabs in so that it glues on the inside of the hat. Cute little hat. Now I'm going to fold mine over because I think I want it to look more like a cowboy hat than a top hat. I'm just going to line it. I'll show you what I'm doing. You'll definitely want to use something to hold this in place. I'm using my stone stick here, but anything will work because you definitely don't want to burn your fingers. This takes a bit of glue and a bit of string, but the finished product will be so sweet. So I'm just going to go around my hat with the string. Okay, I've decided, I guess, that I'm just going to choose to burn my fingers. I'll just show you what I'm doing, and then I will come back when it's complete. Trying to get the idea of what I'm doing. I won't make you watch the whole thing. I'm just going to go around the entire hat on the inside because the brim is going to be showing, and on all around. So I've got my hat all done. Okay, and now we're just, oh, I gave him a little bow around his neck too, out of that same blue ribbon. And now I put a few little berries in his hat. They're actually from Christmas. They're little Christmas picks, but I thought they kind of looked like eggs. So now I'm just going to load on the hot glue and put his hat on him. I wonder why it's Peter, like Peter Cottontail, Peter Pumpkin Eater. I wonder why it's always Peter. I think this is a perfect way to disguise that this little guy is missing an ear. There he is. I think he looks great. Okay, we're going to make the nest, and I've got some cork, and it's pretty thin, but I'm going to make the base of the nest with this. Okay, so there's my base. Again, I just used the cup that my daughter gave me. So if your daughter gave you a Germany cup from Starbucks, that would be the perfect size. I'm just going to twist it into place, and where I can wire it, I'm going to, but I'm also going to enforce it a little bit with some hot glue. There's our little nest. I'm going to hot glue it onto my corkboard. I'm going to paint the roof black because in case the Spanish moss, in case you can see through it, use that same technique where we're just putting the paint on randomly and then using the baby wipe to mix it all together. Very easy way to distress wood. I've just put on the black and then some of the gray, and then I'm just lightly distressing it, making sure that I'm going in the same direction as I want the grain to go. Now, so that is what I'm going to be doing on the entire piece. Okay, I just wanted to show you what I'm going to do with this. I put quite a bit of white on it, as you can that look, because it just kind of blends it all together. Just going to randomly put some lines down it. I'll show you in just a minute. Okay, now that can you see that I've put some lines in there? I just did that like with the Sharpie. Okay, now this saddle coaster that had the chip, I'm just giving it a coat of burnt umber paint, and this is Decor burnt umber. And I'm just blending that in a bit, just to get rid of that, the paint chipped off in a place there. And then I'm going to take some of the bronze metallic paint, and I will dry brush that on. And again, dry brushing, you just tap off most of the paint and then brush it on like nothing ever happened. So I think we've got everything painted. And we have a visitor. Yes, here's Phoebe again. So now I'm going to just stick the Spanish moss on this, and then I will adhere it to that with some E6000 because I need it to be really secure. What I'm doing is cutting this cardboard to the height of my horseshoe. So I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm just going to hot glue all of this together, and then I'm going to wrap the entire thing in burlap. Edge the top and the bottom as well with some jute rope, twine, whatever it is. I'll glue this all around it, so it will end up like that. Around the box twice. And I'm just going to show you how I'm going to finish the edge off so that we get a nice finished edge and it doesn't fray. So I'm going to just cut it straight across. And then I will fold it under. Can you guys see what I'm doing? I mean, there we go. Just like that. So then you will have a nice finished edge right on the corner. So I'm going to take this rope and I'm going to put it all the way around and up on top. So, and here it is, the candy dish. I actually ended up doing the inside with cork as well as the bottom. I didn't like the finished look of the, like just looking at cardboard, it just like, so anyway, that's what I chose to do. And the bird's nest, can you guys see it? I think it looks just adorable. And the little basket centerpiece. And here is the top of my bookshelf once again with the sign moved up just a couple inches so that you can read the whole thing. And yes, you guys were right, it looks much better. And there it is, my rustic Easter vignette with my bunny with his missing ear covered, the candy dish, the birdhouse, all together waiting for Easter.